So then we get to the summer games: aquatics, athletics, cycling, soccer, tennis, and then, as I mentioned, the fall sports festival, bocce, croquet. Something cut off here, but so suffice to say, there's a lot of sports, and there's a lot of opportunities, I think, for people with disabilities in this town to have the opportunity to participate.
So if I hear you correctly, like you definitely see a need for a leadership team to grow around the Special Olympics opportunities here in Fairfield.
Yeah, and it's not that onerous, but there should be a local coordinator that could kind of rally the troops that's here in Fairfield, that has, connections with the schools and everything else. Because of my athletes, of my 9, a couple are from Bridgeport, one is from Milford, 2 just joined this year and did wonderfully, live in a group home in Trumbull. So it's not all, we're the Fairfield Strikers, but, and then there are, the rest are Fairfield. And some in Fairfield live in group homes, some in Fairfield live with family. Some have transitioned from family to, a program. And, so they're all in different places, in a sense, different places, not just locationally, but, different places from so many respects. But I think there's got to be, if there was an open call, which I, up to this point haven't been able to do, but if there was an open call, I think people will come out of the bushes in Fairfield. I think could be a great demand for it.
Different towns get involved in different sports. I know New Canaan has golf and the floor hockey, yeah. And then if you want another sport, you have to go to Darien.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's
and I don't think it. Well, I mean, running a program. There's some, like Chapel Haven, where MP now is residing. So Chapel Haven, I'm assuming they have athletes. I know when we were in the dining facilities, they had athletes in different, oh yeah, I'm a swimmer. I think they have a number of different sports, but remember, they have they have right there, they've got a group to draw from. So it's not like they're, putting out an open call. So they have a captive audience, I guess is the phrase I was looking for,
But it might be interesting. I know one of the things we've talked about is wanting to be able to celebrate the team's success. And so maybe we could build into that celebration some of that, like call for people, those interested to meet with you to hear more about what the team.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to do it. So kind of leverage the recognition of the Fairfield Strikers, and then say, hey, and there's opportunities in many different, with some of these sports, and people are interested in that, because I just think it's really worthwhile. I think people would enjoy. I think people with disabilities, again, of all ages, as I said, I've got them 16 years old. I had Player Magic Man. I'm Coach Magic Man. It gets a little confusing, but Player Magic Man just retired before the season, and he's older than me. He's like 63 years old. So we had from 16 basically to 63, and so Ronnie's now on the coaching staff.
He told me he was going back to play next year.
Really?
When you watch from the sidelines, he didn't like it too much.
That's funny. That's awesome.
So, that's
one of the things I think that, like, the ways that we're postured is, trying to increase awareness around issues in town as well as opportunities. And one of the, we have the team like the Red Storm here in town, or the Fairfield Strikers, and finding ways to increase awareness around what they're doing and what success or even just what they're doing could be those opportunities, like we were talking now, just to pair with with kind of that call out to say, hey, you know, if there's more interest in this, we'd love to speak with you more about getting involved in helping grow this program. But you know, like I think that's something we're kind of in a place where we're trying to get to and grow to, which is how do we increase awareness around these things? And one of them was just, I think, at least for me, was that surprise awareness around, oh, I hadn't thought about what does our Special Olympic programs look like here in town.
And ironically, the last 4 years or so, the games were right, the state games were right here at Fairfield. And so they, did that jumpstart anything? But again, when I look at the commission's goals, increase awareness, issues and opportunities, it's right there. And I could just think, okay, wow, if there's a parent with a child, you know, a younger child that really wants to participate in a lot of the different sports, that could be the perfect local coordinator that could then rally. Because what inevitably we see is, you know, so when we bring new athletes on the team, usually the parents all know each other because they've interacted in different programs, whether it be in the schools or wherever the, you know, like Dogger's mother, Noreen, she knows all the other parents. She knows Amy starting this one, that one. They all knew each other. And so, you know, we have a couple of our athletes that worked at Wolfgang, which is, you know, headquartered, you know, right, well, technically in Black Rock, but I know they have a facility in Fairfield, and they seem to have a lot of Fairfield, you know, Fairfield people working there. But, you know, so I don't know. I'm looking at this as a way that this can be really broad, and I think there's enormous potential here.
I know that there's parents in town who are very interested in learning how we can grow adaptive recreation programs here in town. And so even just knowing that there's interest in that would lead me to think that there would be interest in helping grow a program like the Special Olympics here in town. So maybe if we do start to try and figure out a date or a time when we could gather the whole soccer team together and recognize Fairfield strikers, we could make part of that kind of agenda or schedule be a time where you take some time to speak about the value of the program, but also our need to grow it, and make a general call to, you know, for people interested, come and meet with, you know, we'll set a follow-up date to maybe for you to.
Would you want to do that in collaboration with like the regular meeting, or would you want to have it on a separate?
We'd love to do something separate, I think, is what we initially talked about. Maybe, you know, finding a way to provide, you know, I don't know, either dessert or something like that, where, you know, it's kind of fun, festive, nothing too lengthy, but enough to recognize their success. You know, part of the initially thought was, you know, is there a way to recognize other athletes here in town? But you know, part of the problem is I even reached out to the state, the central offices for the Connecticut Special Olympics. They're limited in what information they could share with us, you know, which makes sense, but it's not clear what athletes we have here in Fairfield. And so, again, it makes sense that we.
As I mentioned, mine are from all different times, and there could be athletes from Fairfield playing for not though Trumbull or Shelton. I don't think so.
They go to Trumbull to golf. They go to Trumbull to play golf.
To golf.
Yeah, golf.
But I mean,
there's a hockey team in
we don't see them on other soccer teams, and we're one of the only soccer. I think Shelton has one. Trumbull did. I don't know if they still do, because we didn't see them. I think they're one of the teams that didn't make it after the pandemic.
I'm surprised soccer. These towns only have 9 athletes. You know, you think there's probably so much untapped interest. Right?
Yeah, because you think of all of the young adults who transition out of the high school and into a transitional program that, you know, they're working at Wolfgang, but there's nothing else for them to do.
Yeah.
You know, then you look at the age range. This is not a kids initiative. This is multiple demographics.
Yeah. All right, it's really awesome of you to take this under your reins and manage it and run it. It's really generous of your time.
It's a lot of fun. You know, my kids, you know, have been, you know, I mean, my daughter, my son, my oldest is turning 33, you know, in a couple of days, and you know, so and that's what they from when they were, you know, they were would help out, and you know, not as much now, but you know, they pretty much did. And my youngest, who's now 27, played soccer collegiately, very good player. And some of the players, we would take some of the, so all the players, he played in Philadelphia, St. Joseph's University, and the coaching staff and all the players on the team knew you know, we would bring 2 or 3 to the games and stuff, and they knew my guys. So, you know, so it's been kind of, you know, the whole family's gotten involved. And it's just what we do.
So when you're hoping to have a new town coordinator, that's for all sports, not just soccer, right?
Yeah, I mean, officially, Julie, because, you know, but we're a soccer only program. Doesn't have to be, but that's, you know, and again, as I mentioned, it wasn't always, but for the last 9 or 10 years, I think even before Betty passed, I think all the track athletes went, you know, I think it was just, we were soccer only, even while she was still alive. And again, she passed in 15, so you know, we're talking at least 10 years, it's been a soccer only program.
Is there a document you could share with us later on that kind of like outlines the responsibilities of a town coordinator?
Yeah, I'm sure I can pull it off I can pull it off the Special Olympics site, cut and paste it, and then email it to, you know.
If it's, I mean, I could probably find it if it's on their website, just listed. I could.
I'm almost 100% sure it is, because their website is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'll say, so you want to be a volunteer, or you want to be an athlete, or you want to be a coach, and then I believe it may or may not go into local coordinator, but
that's all right. I'll look it up.
They had a couple where they had like different people would said, oh, she's going to be the local coordinator, and we saw a couple times, and then, you know, didn't. So I don't know if somebody moved or something, but you know, so it just kind of it kind of fell out of my, I think I didn't really take a step forward. I maybe
step
back, and there I went standing there, maybe too slow to step back. But shame on me. But again, that's okay. Again, it hasn't been anything. But I do feel badly because I'm immersed in so many other things that I haven't been able to really get my arms around this and really build a program. But it's there. It's there for somebody. And I'm just on the site right now, and I just want to see if it takes me to, yes, get involved, become an athlete, become a fundraiser, become a this, that. And I don't know if it says specifically local coordinator, but I could easily, I'll bet if I just, you know, put in a phone call or an email and said, hey, could you get me and I'll bet you I could find it.
I'm going to jump around a little bit, but like in terms of thinking about this fall and trying to gather the soccer team together here in Fairfield, are there certain days or times in the week that might work to gather them? Or
I don't think there's, I mean, I think if they have enough lead time, like even the guys that are in the group home and whatever, we had these 2 guys, like I said, both one was 51 and one was 53. We didn't, you know, they said, oh, they really want to play. Either one had, I think maybe one had played a number of years ago somewhere else, Shelton or somewhere, but hardly. And and this staff, the group home that they live in is in Trumbull. I've been dealing with group homes for 37 years. I've never had one. That staff, every staff member is on top of it. They're responsive. When you say, could you be here? Could you get them here or not? They're there. They're in that van waiting. You know, we have our practice. They're there. They bring them back. You make sure they have everything, their uniform, their equipment, their shin guards. I'm really, really, really impressed.
Excellent. All right, well, maybe we'll work on some dates. We're trying, what we have to do is coordinate with the town in terms of a space to gather them and all that. But we'll communicate with, is it okay to communicate with you and give
Yeah,
you
because
time?
I have an email list that I keep, and what I then do, it has the athletes, the ones that do have email, most don't. But I have the, either caregivers, parents, or, group home folks, whoever, a combination of all the above. And so they get, hey, Fairfield strikers, athletes, families, coaches,
Yeah.
here's what's going next, here's what's happening. And so if I said, oh, we have this date or this, some of them respond like that, others I have to nudge a little bit, but we can certainly. So if we're given a date, this date or that date or whatever, or, I'm sure I can get responses.
Well, we'll then the ball's in our court to, we'll get you some dates. Hopefully we're hoping to invite like the first selectman, some of the other leaders in town. If he can't make it, maybe there's, someone from his staff or the other selectmen on the board. Just as a time to kind of recognize these athletes and thank them on behalf of Fairfield.
Yeah, I don't love it. Don't love it. They appreciate the recognition, and it's special, to borrow the term. And so.
How did the team make out this June? They do all right?
Yeah, because Ryan, we went in there. There were 4 teams because they break it into. So there were.
You have the qualifier in the month.
You have a qualifying tournament up in Yukon. I did leave that out. So in between April, usually it's like April 27th, May 4th, somewhere in that week. Okay, you then go up to Yukon. You play 3 or 4 mini games. And then they base the outcomes of that, and then they say, oh, these 4 teams are in A, and these 4 teams are in B, and whatever. And so this year, I think there was an A and a B, but there were 4 teams in our little bracket. And to be honest, I looked at all of them. We could easily have come in 4th or 1st or any 2nd or 3rd, anywhere in between. And then we're winning the first game the whole time. We lose at the end. So now we lost the first game. And I'm like, oh, this is going in the wrong direction. And yet they came and won resoundingly the next 2. So now we're playing on Saturday afternoon, the gold medal. See, it used to be a 2-day event. It used to be Saturday was it's like a round robin, and then based on the outcome, usually they break it into 4-team divisions though. So based on the outcome Saturday, then on Sunday, you'd come in the morning, 1 played 4, 2 played 3, the 2 losers play for bronze, 2 winners play for gold, and that would be it. This year, the last couple of years at Fairfield, they only did it 1 day because there's less teams, whatever. And so the way they did it is you played each of the other teams in the morning through midday. And then what they did is based on the outcome of those games, and there's ties and everything, and there's tiebreakers. So the year before, we went 2-1 in the 3 games, but because of goal differential, we played for the bronze. So this year we went 2-1, but goal differential put us in the gold medal game.
That's great.
And we won that. Wow, and guess what? It was against the team that beat us in the first game. So now we're playing them for the gold medal, and it just the opposite of the first game where we went ahead 1-0 and then we lost 2-1. We fall behind, not maybe 3 minutes into the game. So now we're 1-0, an uphill climb, and based on how the first one went, things look pretty bleak. And our athletes really. They played with so much determination and so much resolve, in my opinion. So we then tied the game, and right before halftime, we go up 2-1. But remember, the first game, we were up at halftime and we lost. Well, guess what? At 2-1, there was no further score. And it wasn't that we weren't pressured. They were in our end almost all the time. And, our goalkeeper made great, so let me tell you, when you say Special Olympics, they really they really compete. They're fighting for a gold or a silver or whatever it is. So it's not like, okay, a walk in the park. They really compete, and our athletes showed us a lot. And like I said, it wasn't like at the outset here. wasn't expected. It really wasn't expected this time. I mean, there were plenty of years where it was, where I would have thought, I would have been really surprised based on the firepower we had. That wasn't the case this year. And it was the athletes themselves. I mean, we can't play for them. You know, you try to make smart substitutions, whatever, but they got it done. So, and they had it. So I think they will love this recognition because they deserve it. And I think they felt really good about themselves when we all went our separate directions on, you know, that afternoon. And it was a 1 day on Sunday this year because Fairfield U had a Catholic event on Saturday that they didn't realize they had. So we got, this has never happened before. But we then found it was supposed to be a 1 day on Saturday, and then they said no, it's going to be 1 day on Sunday. And you know, New Haven, I guess, had it Saturday, whatever, but Saturday, New Haven, I guess, had it both days because they had different sport. So that was.
Yeah, they do deserve recognition for this. I mean, it's a big accomplishment, and a moment to feel good about the hard work they put in. So. You know, and I know we have some new business to go over and old business, but before we do you want to just take a minute or so and tell us a little bit about Homes for the
I'd love to. Homes for the Brave. We I'm 8 years plus as the CEO there. And it is a mission. We serve men and women experiencing homelessness. Almost all of them are U.S. military veterans. We have a clinical program. We have a vocational program. We have a walk-in, drop-in service center for veterans and their family members that we just opened in 2022, a little over 2 years ago in downtown Bridgeport. And you know, clinical program we started in 2019. We didn't have one before, but I will tell you, mental health needs. 72% of the veterans we are serving are experiencing mental health needs. Many of them severe. PTSD is common denominator. Struggling to overcome addictions is very common in our houses. So, you know, and remember, these are men and women that are served our country, and now they're struggling. They're struggling with homelessness, with hunger, with mental health issues. And so we do everything in our power to get them back on their feet, if you will, to get them permanently housed. And that's pretty tough right now because let's face it, okay, in the housing market, in the entire country, okay, you know, supply is somewhere around here and demand is somewhere up here. And if you take Fairfield County, Connecticut, supply is maybe there and demand is even higher. So it's really challenging. The average length of stay in our men's transitional house, which is on Park Avenue in Bridgeport, very close to the University of Bridgeport, which enables me to coach there. You know, last year was 183 days. The year before was 120. And it wasn't because our veterans weren't ready to move into something permanent, it was because nothing out there. And so, you know, but it's fascinating work. And, you know, roughly 20% of the men that are coming to us are coming out of incarceration. There's a veterans unit in Summers Prison in Connecticut called Cybulski. So if a veteran in the state of Connecticut, no matter where he is from, okay, is not returning to a family situation when their term of incarceration ends, they send them to me. And then, you know, and we do employ many of our alums, as we call them, because they might find difficulty based on a lot of factors, including criminal histories and so forth, getting employed in the competitive marketplace. So we employ them as house monitors and whatever and help them build a track record. And, you know, I mean, if I sat here and said every single one's been a home run, you'd know I was a liar. So we've had our minor disasters, no major ones. But, you know, when we have a success story, even if you go on our website, you'll see some videos of alums that have been enormously successful. And so, you know, it's particularly sweet when that happens. And, you know, and that's what, we live for the successes. And, you know, we know there's going to be plenty of non-successes, I'll say. And, you know, you just have to, you know, recognize the element you're dealing with and you know, working within, and so, yeah, so that's us, that's Homestead Rec.
Thank you for doing that work. I mean, there's I'm sure a high demand for that. And another reason why, as a town, if we can get more resources around you with the Special Olympics in the local coordinator area, hopefully will allow you to breathe a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And I should tell you, by the way, there is an account they have, Fairfield, because I guess years ago they used to do fundraisers and stuff, which I really don't need to do right now. As I said, the Kiwanis Club, and even if we need uniforms, but there's an account for Fairfield, okay? That if they start other sports, we can buy it about 8,800 or so now. It's between 85 and 9,000. And so if we turn around and had track athletes or this or that, my athletes don't pay a cent. We pay they're supposed to pay $40 for the weekend for the state games. We pay. Okay, we take care of it in the program. Why should we charge them? Okay, and some of them would really have difficulty, not all of them, but some of them would have maybe a little challenging when there's time for new uniforms and whatever. I mean, they're provided everything, the socks, the shorts, jerseys, the shin guards, etc. So, so I think there's room that if we were able to pick up other sports in this town, I think there's some resources there to fund that.
Thank you very much for sharing with us today. Hopefully, we'll maybe grab a couple minutes afterwards and have you share those brochures with us. But thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I know we do have a couple people with us online, Karen and Mary. Do either of you have any other public comments in regards to what Vince has shared with us today?
Not for me. I'm just trying to learn about the great work you're doing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
And I'm just not sure what the meeting's all about, but I came in late, so I apologize.
That's all right, Karen. This is Vincent Santilli. He's actually the coach of the Fairfield Strikers, which is the soccer team that represented Fairfield, but certainly residents from around the area in this year's Connecticut Special Olympics. And so he came to kind of share with us a little bit about the history and the needs of the Special Olympics program here in town and the great work he's been doing there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, if there's no more comments from the public on that, I just want to maybe just say a brief word about new business, if that's okay. I think we'll probably table most of that conversation for later, but what we're trying to do is build up a list of resources which we can ask the town to put under our page on the website. I will say I was on our page earlier today, and the town did a great job creating like an ADA page, which is like the first thing you see when you go on the website under I don't know if it's departments or committees or whatnot, but basically it's very visible. So if anyone has any concerns around ADA, they have contact information of what they can do. But that's an example of something we could put under our page so that if someone's looking for resources in town, they have kind of like if they're looking for what's available in town, it's a one-stop page. It can become a one-stop page for what we feel like are needed resources to point people towards. So we'll try to work on that in future meetings and keep building on that. It's kind of like an ongoing rolling project for us right now. We do have, by the way, quorum. Karen, you are our fourth commissioner on the call. And so with your attendance, we actually have quorum. And there's one piece of business we do actually have to address since we have quorum, and that is to approve the June minutes of our meeting, which were included in the email that Julie sent out, as well as we have a printout of them here. But basically, as you look it over, any questions, or do I have someone who could make a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Karen.
Oh, okay, but I make that motion without being involved in the past few months committee. I just wanted to say I read them.
Excellent.
And but that's all I'm going to do is make the motion.
That's all right. Thank you for making that motion, Karen, and thank you for your involvement. Is that anyone second that? Thanks, Ron. Ron seconded it.
So Karen could abstain because she wasn't there to do it that way. We could still vote.
Okay.
You can still.
Okay. So educate me. What?
So now you're just gonna see if there's any comment on the minutes and then call the vote. So Karen, since she wasn't here, Karen, if you're good with abstaining, can abstain and then that'll be easier. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes, I will.
All right, so now we're gonna open up for any conversations around the minutes, if there's any questions or any comments to make. All right, and then a motion to vote on the minutes. Ron motioned it. Do we need to second that?
I think Ryan already did, so.
Okay,
Yep.
so now we can vote. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. All right, so that's, and then Karen, did you abstain?
I abstained, yes.
Good, so we have 3 yeses and 1 abstention. All right, good. That concludes that piece. In terms of old business, again, it was just, it's more the reminder of the resources on the website. I will say, we're coming into an election season. There was some voting even today for the Republican primaries, and the town does have resources on accessibility for voting. So I would just encourage you guys, I don't think this is probably under new business still, but I encourage you guys to go on the website and under the Registrar of Voters page and just kind of see what sort of things are available in case anyone brings up the issue with you. And then I think probably something we should make a plan to discuss at the next meeting is, reaching out and asking if there's a way we can encourage them, help them, or even ask for some sort of clear communication from the town about what options are available on election day. So just again, that's kind of for future work. I don't have anything listed under old business on my notes. Do you?
Can I say something about the voting and the inaccessibility at voting places?
Yeah.
I had asked where the TDD for people with hearing impairments, and they pointed to me in the corner and they said, we don't know how to work it. And there were a few other issues. So I think there needs to be some training of the people that run the specific sites so that they know where things are used for people with different disabilities, and that they're available, and that they direct people to where there are no steps. I mean, these are all important things for voting.
Sure. So yeah, no, that's very helpful. Thank you, Karen. We can reach out to the Registrar of Voters and just kind of mention that and say we were discussing this at our meeting, and then see if they have any suggestions for us. But that's helpful feedback. I know that the town is wanting to be accessible on election day, and that's certainly one that we can just kind of put before them to remind them of that need. So
that was 12 years in a row I've asked, just to let you know.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I would think ramps to where the voting is and everything should be very clearly marked with no questions.
Yeah. Okay.
We shouldn't have to ask, how do I get to a voting booth? It should be very clear.
Is all the voting done at schools or just some of it? Because schools, I mean, they're all set up. They should all be accessible. I think. Just wondering.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I appreciate what you said last. We should, someone shouldn't have to ask. We should be doing, the town should really be doing the work of.
Is there an accessibility study that was done for the town, like an ADA study that points out not just physical access, but all the access to services and programs for people with disabilities. I think that was supposed to have been done by 2009. So I just was wondering if there was an ADA plan.
Karen, it's Julie. I know they initially did a plan in the 90s. I don't know where that stands now, but the town has a new ADA compliance officer. Perhaps we could invite her to the next meeting, and maybe the registrars as well. And that's Kathleen Simpson, who's the HR director.
Okay. And she does physical access too, like that would not just pertain to employment, but would pertain to physical access of buildings and various sites.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So that's helpful. We'll reach out. I'll reach out to the registrar voters and ask if someone would be willing to come and attend our next meeting as well, and mention what you shared, Karen, and then maybe we could also invite Kathleen Simpson as well. That would be helpful. So, any department updates you want to share with us?
We are having an Aging in Place fair at the end of September at the Senior Center, and inviting providers of services, holders, services around town, community and economic development, the life alerts, those kind of businesses to come in to have a display so people can walk around and learn about services in place. That's September 26th from 5 to 7. We also have a new vulnerable resident outreach registry. So if somebody self-identifies as needing support in the event of a storm, it's not a well check, it's not a friendly call. It's if somebody does not have supports at home or natural supports in the neighborhood or family, and may need assistance, they can self-register, or a family member could register them for this new service. Yep.
Right. Open up for any more public comment before we adjourn?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So, as we're coming to the end of our meeting, but I again want to open up the floor to any public comments. Anyone have anything else to say before we do adjourn, or even in this room?
I'm just giving each of you my business card, and our signature event for Home to the Brave is on this coming Saturday at Sacred Heart University's new Martiri, well, it's almost brand new, Martiri Family Hockey Arena. And it's great. So please feel invited. This is big for us, and teams are continuing to form. We are now, they won't all be there Saturday. Some corporate sponsors have their own event in their place of business or whatever, but we're over 500 participants as of this morning, and we crossed the $90,000 mark, but we're aiming for 100. We've still got a few hills to climb, so we may not get there, but we're trying like heck. So please, you have the information on it, and anybody certainly would be more than welcome to join us. It's a really fun event. There's music playing throughout the arena. There's cheerleaders along the course and water stations. It's being hosted by Alyssa Ray Taglia of Channel 8 News in New Haven, wonderful friend of our organization, and AJ from the Chaz and AJ show, and Melissa Sheketoff from Melissa in the Morning, WICC are our 3 co-hosts. So please, please feel invited.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. We really appreciate not just your time today, but the ways you've invested in our athletes here in town for the last 10 years and just all you've been doing. So thank you again for all you've done there. We'll get back to, we'll reach out to you with
I'll look forward to my next visit with the athletes and the coaches, and we have a magnificent coaching staff too, by the way.
Good.
100 and way over 100 years of experience collectively. So
Excellent.
Julie, I remember you mentioned there was like another commission that was sort of related to ours, and you were seeing if maybe one of us could kind of
liaison.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say again, if you still need someone to do that, if if you want to send me the dates, or I can even send you an email and reach out, I'd be happy to do that.
Thanks for the reminder, Ryan. I will definitely do that. That's a Human Services Commission
Human Services Commission.
meeting in August.
I'll send you an email so that way you don't have to put it on your to-do list.
Thank you.
You made her very happy.
Yes, you sure did.
Good. Well, if there's nothing else, is anyone willing to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone second?
I'll second it.
All right, seconded. All in favor of adjourning? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, guys.